Hello again. When one reaches a certain age, the two-party system of British politics seems like something which is fixed and immutable. It has always been this way and always shall be. Of course, there are occasional tiny blips in the arrangement. In the early 1980s, there was an attempt to set up a party called the Social Democrats, which would break the mould of British politics, as it was said at the time. Anybody remember that? Roy Jenkins, Shirley Williams and David Owen, and William Rogers, of course, the Gang of Four, as they used to be called. They had no effect at all on the course of the 1983 general election, other than to split the Labour vote. Then in 2010 we had the first coalition since the war. Some people thought that this signalled a change in British politics, but it proved not to be so. Now similar things are being said because it seems possible that both the Labour vote and that of the Conservatives might be split. This would certainly be a novelty and one well worth seeing. A party called Reform is doing very well in the opinion polls lately, and it's being suggested that this might ultimately eclipse the Conservative Party and perhaps replace it. This is an interesting idea. Of course, we saw just such a shift 100 years ago in this country. In the early part of the 20th century, the two main parties were the Liberals and the Tories. After the end of the First World War, this changed and Labour became the main party of opposition, the Liberals going into a steep decline. It is something of the kind which Reform are hoping for. The one thing which might make this a realistic proposal would be if Nigel Farage were to lead the party, in which case I think many discontented voters, both Conservative and Labour, might flock to his banner. Jeremy Corbyn, former leader of the Labour Party, was of course suspended from Labour a few years ago for allegedly not repenting of his anti-Semitism. Many old-style Labour supporters think that Kier Starmer is a wishy-washy sellout, with no strong principles or aims of any kind other than to become Prime Minister. Who am I to say otherwise? Corbyn is now, by some accounts, about to launch a party of his own called perhaps Real Labour. If that happened, it would attract many traditional Labour voters. Perhaps this is a time when it is worth thinking about voting for a new party. Maybe this time round the mould of British politics really is about to be broken.